Good morning, CSL Chico. I'm Reverend Kathy Fernandes, the Spiritual Director for the Center for Spiritual Living, and so happy you joined us here this morning. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather. I'm giving gratitude for the smoke having dissipated and beautiful, fresh, clean air. So will you repeat with me? I am a center for spiritual living, and I love Mother Earth. And indeed, during these times, being able to get out and be in that beautiful expression of Mother Earth, now is the time. I have something special today, thanks to Monty Cameron, who suggested this. We have two videos that we're going to show you this morning to start out our service. The first video is sharing with you how the Donovan Catholic Jazz Choir created a song. And of course, people can't sing together during this time of the pandemic, but they made it a project in the high school. And the first video shares that process. And then the second video actually shares their song and the production of that. So I hope that you enjoy it. Thanks, Macy.
I'm feeling abandoned. Imagine things that should have happened. I'm counting the days. Our jazz choir class used writing this song as an opportunity to talk about our feelings of loneliness and missing out on so many important high school milestones.
We wanted to come at this project from a positive standpoint and make sure that everybody knew that in the midst of all the obstacles that were thrust at us, that we were going to come out on the other end as better people, and that we could have an impact on ourselves, our school community, and our community as a whole.
We also made sure to focus on not taking the little things for granted and the fact that we're stronger than the distance.
Producing this song helped me to deal with living through the pandemic because it inspired me to stay motivated and gave me hope that things were going to get better.
I think we initially started with the chorus,
yes,
which was really positive. You know, when it's finally over. You know, and all the things they were going to do when it was finally over.
My favorite part of the song is the second verse because it acts as a ship to the positives that came out of this situation. And I also specifically like the line, "I know we're not together, but I know we're not alone."
I know we're not together, but I know we're not alone.
My favorite part of producing the song was actually getting together and on Zoom and writing it, because it really gave us a way to connect to each other and see each other, even though we couldn't see each other in person.
We just put everything together. It was just piece by piece by piece. Even though it was probably about a month and a half, 2-month process of the song coming from a thematic idea to what you hear now. And students were sending me ideas through email, and then I would place their vocals into the track in my studio so that they got to hear those ideas come to life.
We'll dance until our feet feel numb, and we're gonna sing until the morning. We'll live like a storm without a warning. Together we're more than enough.
I think I was mostly surprised by how engaged the kids were. They just wanted to make the product better and better each time we met.
These students were really, really poised and super talented and super giving of their time to give me a raw material that was already so polished that when I got at something that could have been extremely difficult, it made my life really, really easy.
And we're gonna sing till the sun is in the morning. We're strong and we're not giving up.
Frozen, frozen in this moment. I'm holding on to memories that are broken. I'm feeling abandoned. Imagine things that should have happened. I'm counting the days. And our love is the thing that alleviates all the pain. When a mask is an obstacle, reach for a way to believe we can find a new place to begin. 'Cause we're stronger than the distance. And when it's finally over, we'll dance until our feet feel numb. Dance till our feet feel numb. And we're gonna sing until the morning. We'll live like a storm without a warning. Together we're more than enough. We're strong and we're not giving up. We'll live and we'll own it. We'll live in the moment. And we're gonna sing until the morning. We'll live like a storm without a warning. Together we're more than enough. We're strong and we're not giving up. We'll live and we'll own it. I found strength, I found hope. I chose to love the little things and hold them close to me. I know that we can go. I know that it's been long. I know we're not together, but I know we're not alone. And our love is the thing that'll ease all the pain. When a mask is an obstacle, reach for a way to believe we can find a new place to begin. 'Cause we're stronger than the distance. And when it's finally over, we'll dance until our feet feel numb. Dance till our feet feel numb. And we're gonna sing until the morning. We'll live like a storm without a warning. Together we're more than enough. We're strong and we're not giving up. We'll live and we'll own it. We'll live in the moment. And we're gonna sing until the morning. We'll live like a storm without a warning. Together we're more than enough. We're strong and we're not giving up. We'll live and we'll own it. We'll dance until our feet feel numb. And we're gonna sing until the morning. We'll live like a storm without a warning. Together we're more than enough. We're strong and we're not giving up. We'll live and we'll own it. We'll live and we'll own it. We'll live in the moment. And we're gonna sing till the morning. Strong without a warning. We're more than enough. We're strong and we're not giving up.
Wow. Talk about filled with inspiration. Just a beautiful expression. Love the affirmations, the hope, stronger than the distance, shift to the positive. We're not together, but we're not alone. Just so very wonderful and beautiful. And can't say enough. Just wanted to cry listening and thinking about all those children, high schoolers. Living through this pandemic is definitely a memorable experience for all of us, and such a wonderful expression of creativity and hope that comes through. So love that, had to share it with you. Now, if you'll say with me, the affirmation by Sandy Golke, religious science practitioner: keep it simple allows me to quiet my mind and trust the flow of life without fear or resistance. Thank you, Sandy. Beautiful expression also for us to take into this lesson and into this week. I'm just going to quickly go over a couple announcements and then we'll move into our healing meditation. Of course, we do have Science of Mind treatments available at our website, as well as a lot of the activities that are happening online. And I'm delighted to say that we are renewing our Adopt a Highway team. We had some changes in leadership and some changes with the Department of Transportation, but we are now official once again. And we're looking for any of you who would like to get out and about and be together in service with the Adopt a Highway team. And I want to appreciate Liz George, who's actually been leading the Save a Service teams. And so if you'd like more information or like to sign up for the Adopt a Highway, you can contact Liz or the main office and we'll get you in contact with Liz. Also, I want to thank the practitioners, Julie Fisher-Wilkerson and Kat Llewellyn, on hosting the TGIF, thank God it's Friday, walk in Bidwell Park. I know there were 5 this Friday, which is very fun, and they meet in the Card parking lot at 10:30. So another way to get out and about safely and with one another. Also, a religious science practitioner, Andy Tureen, will tomorrow night be doing the Law of Attraction at 7 p.m. We have a meetup group that actually has been meeting. So thank you, Andy, for leading Law of Attraction. And of course, we want to invite you to join us after our service today in our Zoom room. That link is available in our e-blast so that we have a chance to talk with each other and say hi. All right, so that's it for the announcements. I want to ask the practitioners to center themselves and surround now our community, the Center for Spiritual Living, Chico, friends, family, and all of those beyond our community, surrounding them in consciousness as we go into this healing meditation. And based on the topic for today and some of the lesson, we will focus the meditation on finding the joy, even as things may appear differently in our world. So if you get yourself comfortable and get yourself centered as we move into this meditation. I know that as we come into the awareness and the consciousness that there is only one mind, and that is the mind of what we call God, universal source, the divine presence that lives through each being, through each thing, visible and invisible. I know that this love, this deep abiding love that gives life, ever flowing of now in this moment, the fresh air, the blue sky, ever in the plants, the trees that provide for us the oxygen and the exchange between our carbon dioxide and the oxygen of plants, the beautiful systems of Mother Earth that allow for the living and this expression of life move through us, in us, and through us. I know that this divine presence is omnipresent, that is present everywhere, that is omnipotent, as in all powerful in all places, and omniscient, as in all knowing. And I know this power and this presence is right here. And as I open my heart and I open my mind and I speak this for all of those who are in this space and open to this conscious awareness, I know that the divine expresses through each one of us in the beautiful expressions, just as this choir shared with us, in the expressions of our purpose, of our service, in being in unity with one another through this inspirational service, through the opportunity to connect in service in the ways that serve the purpose of each individual soul. I know that the Center for Spiritual Living, Chico, is a place that allows this truth, this connection to be made. No matter whether we are apart, we know that we are together, together living in, as, and through this expression of the goodness that God is, the universal source constantly delivering for us. And in each moment, we know there is change. Change is happening, and we allow, release, and let go by allowing what is moving through us to continue to move, for that is the truth of life. And as we allow and accept what is in this current moment, we know that deeper than what we see is this invisible power. And this invisible power is a peace and a joy that lives deeply through each one of us. There is nothing that gets in the way of the peace and joy that is, nothing that can tarnish it, nothing that can hurt it or change it. For this deep peace and this deep joy is always with us. And as we allow the thoughts to move through us, we can become conscious and aware of this deep peace and this deep joy. It is there awaiting our recognition. And so we mindfully move ourselves to this truth, knowing just as we are able to breathe the air in each moment, that we are able to express, to see, to feel the deep peace and the deep joy that is forever with us. And so I'm knowing that this is good. I'm knowing that this is done by the power of my word, by planting these seeds, these thoughts into the law of mind. The law of mind takes these seeds, fertilizes them, and allows them to grow and express in our life, in our expression. And so I release anything that stands in the way. I allow and let this truth be so. And together we say, and so it is. All right. So now we move to the inspirational lesson of our service. And I want to invite Monty Cameron to join me. She's a religious science practitioner, has been with our community for a very long time, and has continued her spiritual growth and learning through a lot of metaphysical practice and expression. She's a teacher, and I'm so delighted, Monty, that you joined me today. Thank you for allowing this expression to happen together. Appreciate that. I want to just set context, and then I'll allow Monty to kick us off a little bit. So this month, the book of the month is the Book of Joy. It is written by the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. So of course, a Christian and a Buddhist, which makes it perfect for our expression, because in the science of mind, we know that there are multiple truths, the truths that come together regardless of the perspectives that they're brought forth, whether it's from a Christian perspective or from a Buddhist perspective. And the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu do a wonderful job. They have a great relationship, and that is expressed in the book through humor, through how they connect and how they see the truth together and weave the quilt. And so the Book of Joy is a part of the discussion of how do we use science of mind during this pandemic. I also want to mention that our theme of the month is simplicity. And I think the pandemic has probably caused all of us, perhaps, to move into a more simplistic life as we stay home more than before. So that's a little bit of context. Monty, maybe you want to help prop up now a little bit about our discussion today.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. I totally enjoyed the book, the Book of Joy. I think it was very refreshing, and like you said, it brought about the whole spectrum of the believers in the world, and even he brought in something about the non-believers. So finding joy is something that every religion in the planet has to do with a connection, with a spiritual connection, with a deeper connection inward. And they also said that is not necessarily defined to any one particular religion or humanity, basically.
Yes, I love that part. And they continue to come back to it's all about humanity, not all the creed and the dharma or the processes, but rather being human, having this human experience, being a spiritual being, regardless of how you live that, express that, know that. And I know that, of course, this book was written long before COVID. And yet at the same time, the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu continue to speak to, yes, as humans, we do all suffer. And they talked a lot about, while we may look at the expressions of the world, and especially if you're watching the news, where it may feel like that is all there is, but there is actually more if we are willing to look beyond the visible and or to see that there's always two sides of the coin. I always like to use that metaphor, heads and tails, meaning what do you choose to focus on? And that's appropriate for this time during COVID, is it not?
Absolutely, absolutely. We tend to have kind of a mental myopia of where we are, whatever our experience is around us, and a lot of times that brings fear and it brings suffering and it brings loneliness when you're forced into being alone a lot. Your mental, the way you look at it and your mental thoughts around that are going to be your experience. So this book actually talked a lot about broadening that, widening that perspective. And a lot of times as we widen that perspective, and I found in my life, this is always true. If you take it to a bigger picture, if you take it to a wider perspective, then everything comes into balance. You understand more, you have more compassion, there's more unity, there's more love shared with each other. And then all of a sudden you have that fear and that suffering is not quite as large as it used to be. And I know emotions are hard to get through, that sometimes they're really hard to change, but perception is not so hard. So perception is one of the things that we actually can look at and change, have the power to change our mind. And as we perceive differently, then our emotions start to come back together.
Yeah, matter of fact, this was a really unique expression of how important it was, even when you're suffering. Yes, you must take care of yourself, but the book spoke specifically about if you then move yourself into compassion, understanding that other human beings are also suffering, that by expanding, as you said, that breadth and that depth of understanding that we're all human, that and not to diminish what you're going through, but to understand that you are one with all humans who express and who suffer. And by broadening that and connecting with other people's experience of suffering, that compassion actually expands your heart and expands your mind into, as you said, a better balance between it's not just tunnel vision, but understanding our connection more broadly.
Yeah, very, very good.
So grow your compassion is one of the lines that I wrote down. It's not that I don't see myself as a compassionate being, but as they spoke to realizing that as people are in their suffering, how can we bring union into that suffering as far as from a compassionate heart? Now, I wanted to bring up, many people, of course, are familiar with the loving kindness meditation. And that meditation is actually, I'm teaching the practitioner interns, and we actually used that meditation. And that meditation has been shown, they've actually done some experiments and some research on, as individuals for just 2 weeks practice the loving kindness meditation, they can measure the change in people's brains and realize that it lifts them. That I thought that was amazing. Do you remember them talking about that?
Yeah, no, I don't remember, and I'm not familiar with the loving kindness meditation, but
Okay.
I
Let
do
me, I'm sitting here going, I know I printed it out, but now of course it's not with me. So what did I do with it? It is the meditation that I know that you have heard before. Here it is. That is, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. And then it moves to, may he or she, as we surround a friend, a family member, or even somebody who we're having difficulty with, may he or she be filled with loving kindness. May he or she be well. And then lastly, may all beings be filled with loving kindness. And I thought the fact that experiment of asking people to do this for 2 weeks and actually being able to see the difference says something about science of mind. It's what you're focusing on. Where is the reality with a capital R, as in truth, and focusing on that truth. This meditation does that.
Absolutely. And I do think that just listening to you read that, it puts us into a self-reflection about ourselves. And I know for me, I think the way that we do connect with other people is the way we connect with ourselves. So I think one of the things that the COVID has brought to us is our ability to stop our busy lives, stop what we are. We're not defined by a regiment that we do every day. So as that changes, we look at how can we do things different. And it has forced many of us into more of a time when we can self-reflect, and through meditation or whatever it is, where you're just sitting and connecting with something deeper within yourself. And I think that, a lot of people say connecting with the God within, the higher power, and I think it's just a connection and connecting deeply. And as you connect deeply, it allows you to see others, to connect with others. There is nothing in this world that's independent. I mean, we are all connected. And so as we connect within, we find out that there is that wholeness, that there's everything that we need right there, which is the same for all people. And we can't really connect with other people until we connect with ourselves.
That's beautiful. And I want to go back to, I've had a couple colleagues say, oh, I can't do meditation. And I want to say then, with that beautiful song that these high schoolers created and sang, then sit with that. Because I don't know how you can't open your heart, even just sitting with that song, and therefore connecting with yourself, even if it's through music. In other words, spiritual practice comes in many forms. The opportunity with the song is to sit with that, to have your heart open, and to then connect with yourself from that domain, rather than constantly being in our head or constantly expecting the outside world to bring us the peace and joy that we can actually find sometimes with just sitting with the song.
Yeah. Wasn't that lovely?
Yeah.
It said it all.
Yes. And I wanted to lean into what you said about, what have we learned during COVID? Well, people may not like what's changed, but we've all had to deal with lots of change, whether that's wearing a mask, how we go to the store, how much we're staying home versus out, I don't know, shopping or doing other events and activities. And while I realize, for those that like to go to concerts, or even in our community, love to come together at the center so that we can love and exchange hugs and be with one another, there has been a sense of understanding about change. And we have the saying, change your thinking, change your life. And I wanted to speak specifically about it has caused perhaps our mental habits to be more accentuated, which may cause more suffering, or it may have caused our mental habits to need to change. So talk a little bit about, because the book talks about mental immunity. What did you get out of that part?
Oh, the mental immunity. I liked that part of the book because it really, it equated it to the same as our physical immunity. Like if we keep our bodies healthy, if we eat right, if we get enough sleep, whenever there are viruses or bacteria or something, we have immunity to fight those off. So, so mental immunity is the same thing. It's choose your thoughts. It's pretty much what we were talking about earlier about what is your perception? What are your thoughts? And if your thoughts are based on what's going on with you individually, solely alone on a day-to-day basis, then what is the good about that? What is there is good in the world that can come about it. And I think COVID has, you talked about what have we learned, and I think we've learned a lot about not only about ourselves that we can choose differently, but we've learned about how to take care of the planet and how we live with the planet. I think we already knew it mentally. We have to slow down all of the carbon emissions but the ability to do that is we now learn that we can do it. We can do it and we're okay. And I don't think we'll ever go back to where we were. So
no. I think we've been stretched. There's no going back, although there may be some things that change once again. But
yes.
I think also that when the COVID first came out in March, one of the things I said is it has practically taught everybody that we are one when our breath, as we know now, we didn't know as much in March, when our breath is inhaled and exhaled with each other. It has demonstrated the reality of our oneness in the physical.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like that. I like that perception, Kathy, a lot. And one of the things that has just amazed me and awed me is this is really the first thing that this planet has done where the whole planet is affected on the same thing. Mm-hmm. So, and I do think it's not a mistake. I do think as a planet, we are yearning to connect. We are yearning to and with not knowing how, I think the universe shows us how. And I know I read something not long ago where the millennials and the Gen Z are the loneliest groups of generations that have come together yet so far. Wow. And so so I think it's time. I think it's very timely, and it's
so
not.
You're basically saying the pandemic is a calling, and many times we want to judge the pandemic, judge COVID, but what it has done, as you were saying, maybe created a common enemy for all of us as the world to now come together to determine how we can work together to overcome this, regardless of how that happens. It's all God, whether it's a vaccine or some other form, but it is a calling to the whole world. And, we weren't so globally connected as we have been since the internet. Of course, the internet is not everywhere, and that has also been raised as a very visible, the haves versus the have-nots. I know in education, we're talking about that a lot, even from a state and federal level. How do we get the internet available to everybody? Why? Because that's how we're connecting. And so there are things that have come out of COVID during this time that are causing shining lights over here. We can do this. We're going to work on this together, and brings about new intentions. Yes.
Absolutely, and it absolutely brings out those feelings of compassion and loving kindness. And how can we do this together? How can we connect?
Yeah. I have the book called How to Use Science of Mind. Again, this is a part of the practitioner training. So any practitioner has, of course, read this book. Mine is a very old version. In it, it's, I want to start with that Ernest Holmes has said that a trained mind is much more powerful than an untrained mind. Now, a lot of people don't like to hear the word discipline, but, you know, if I want to be careful about this, but as we're a kid, we tend to follow our emotions heavily. And as we grow up, we have to learn to deal with those emotions and work through for ourselves through those emotions to do what is right for us to do. And in page 20, it says, in metaphysical practice, we arrive at this conviction through a process of thinking. The process itself is not the conviction, it's the road that leads to it. To the average individual, this process is necessary. And what it's really talking about here is our affirmative prayer, which we call science of mind treatment, actually moves us from where we may be in perhaps looking at a worldly situation and moving us back to what we call first cause. In other words, what's reality with a capital R? Truth is love, peace, power, beauty, joy, life, their wisdom, harmony. And we use this process to move our thinking to an understanding, as we were talking, the broader perspective, and then allow ourselves in that science of mind treatment to move towards the conviction of the intention of I'm going to live the greater truth, the reality of knowing that there is love, of knowing that we are one, of knowing that we're connected, that we suffer together. And I'm going to continue to use, as those students did when they were in the song where they said, we're stronger than the distance between us, and we are not together, but we are not alone.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that bringing us together with, you know, what Ernest Holmes brought to us is, you're right, a unity. We have everything we need. And again, I will go back to that connection is made to our oneness and to our wholeness through connecting deeply within.
Yes. And isn't it interesting that our theme for this year was deepening our spiritual connection?
There you go. There you go.
And so people have a choice, meaning, again, the majority of us are spending more time at home. We have a choice to do some form of a spiritual practice, to continue to remind ourselves and to change our habits of thinking in understanding, again, the connection to our spiritual nature, connection to accepting the suffering we may be going through, not trying to push it away, accepting it, but then again, broadening it to a broader truth and knowing that we are in this together.
Yeah. Yeah, very good.
All right. Maybe just a couple more things here. I'm sort of curious, when we come together after the service, I will love to hear what the community feels like they're learning from COVID. Certainly, when we started in March, what we thought we learned, we may have been in shock. Certainly now, being how many months later, 6 months later, what have we learned now? Sometimes looking in hindsight, we get that broader perspective because we're looking over a broader period of time and being able to share with one another, maybe, as you said, what's probably not going to change back. In other words, what are the things that perhaps if there's more of a spiritual practice that's been developed or other habits that help us create our physical, mental, spiritual immunity, that perhaps that's what's going to stick with us going forward. So what would you say, Monty, for you personally? Are there things that you feel like you've learned and this is what I see going forward?
Well, I haven't learned any new skills like knitting or or how to play the ukulele. I bought a ukulele and was going to learn how to play the ukulele.
Love it.
And I know that many people are just picking up on all kinds of skills. You know what, I would say for me, probably the biggest advantage that I have received out of this is the ability to, I have a grandson living with me. And so the ability to do meditation on a daily basis with a 14-year-old and introduce him to meditation, and that will stick with him for the rest of the life, I think is the biggest advantage for me that's come out of this.
Wow. So I supported my daughter in learning transcendental meditation. Very similar to what you're saying, as she prepares to go into physician's assistant school, which of course, you know, a very stressful educational experience, and based on so many things going on. So I'm going to take that now to the broader perspective, bringing others into the understanding of mindfulness, if you're not necessarily deeply spiritual, or into the understanding of this connecting within, going deeper, sharing that, because we know that the next generation, that climate change isn't going to change just like that. And therefore there is more that what they will continue to be exposed to. And wow, that's a fun intertwining that I didn't know we had, but I love that. That's great.
Yes, and I do know that mindfulness is springing up everywhere. I mean, it's just, it's becoming mainstream, which just tickles me. I know, speaking of my 14-year-old grandson, he's had his main doctor, and he's had different professionals in the medical field that have suggested mindfulness as a way of life. So we would not have heard of that a few years ago, having the medical field say, let's put some mindfulness in there. So
it is a changing world.
It is a changing world. It is a changing world.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, any summary or wrap up you would like to bring into the conversation?
Well, Kathy, this has been delightful. It's been a delightful discussion, and I do think these are very interesting times, and I do think I think we can learn a lot from them, which we already have, but I think there's going to be a huge amount that we have learned that will go forward and continue for many years. And I think one of the biggest things we learn is that we need each other. We need each other because we are each other. And as long as we do our spiritual practices or mental practices, as far as what is my perception, I think we're all going to come out to be better.
Beautiful. And I'm going to end with something that was by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Most of you know that he died, I think it was around 1960. And so you may hear this paragraph and think he was talking about today, but it was actually previously that he wrote this, and I just think it sums it up, similar to what you said, Monty. The world is perhaps at the point of the greatest crisis in all human history. And there seem to be two attitudes we can assume. One is calmness, faith, and conviction, and the other would be despair. And despair is unthinkable. Let each, in their own way, dedicate their time, their service, their hope, and their spiritual conviction to the common cause of liberty and justice for all. And let's work together without tiring, and pray without ceasing. And so it is.
Very wonderful. And so it is.
Thank you so much, Monty. I appreciate your adventurous willingness to join me. And it was a wonderful experience. Thank you so much.
Great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So now we will move into our offertory. And thank you so much, Macy. As you know, in order for us to continue together, to be in that conviction, to do these spiritual practices, to inspire each other, to empower each other, and to transform our lives, it is the Center for Spiritual Living Chico, which is all of you, that allows us to be here today. So we want to let you know there are multiple ways multiple ways you can play, multiple ways to tithe back to the center as a way of sharing the abundance in your life and the place that helps nurture you through these difficult times. Of course, you can always send a check. I love using Breeze, which is the text your donation at the bottom. It will take a minute or two to set up the first time, but after that, it takes less than 5 seconds to donate. Or you can go online to our website and hit the donate button. And we appreciate you sharing with us that flow of energy so that we can continue to be here for one another as we move through this thing called life. All right, let us move into our offertory song by Karen Drecker, I Am So Blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And so we have an affirmation together that allows us to come into the expression of blessing that which has been given. So if you'll repeat with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. So I'll do the benediction and then we'll end with love can move the world. And so as we come again into the conscious presence of the love, the life, the peace, the joy that lives through each one of us, it is the divine birthright. It is at the deepest part of our beingness. And so we release and let go of that perhaps which we are seeing, and allow ourselves to focus inward, to know and to connect with this deeper power, this ability to know our truth of the love and the peace and the joy that we are. And as we connect with that, we know that we are connecting with all others in the compassion of our suffering, but also in the knowing that joy is forever with us, that those paths are synchronous. They happen together because the love and the joy and the peace that is ours is always there the moment we turn to it. And so we give thanks for this opportunity to be together, to know this truth, to express this truth, and to live in the unity of this expression, of this experience that we are all moving through. And so I know that this is all good. I know that it is blessed. I release it, letting it be so. And together we say, and so it is. See you in the Zoom room.
Just one life, that's all that we've been given here. Just one chance to make a difference where we live. I'm just one man. I'm only human, but only human means I've got a lot to give. Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a tide that begins with you and me. Love can move the world as the warmth of the sun moves the tree. Feel the wind of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come love the world with me. Look around, there's someone hurting near you. Look around, there's something you can do. Look within you and find your spirit to change the world. There's got to be a change in you. Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a tide that begins with you and me. Love can move the world as the warmth of the sun moves the tree. Feel the wind of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come love the world with me. Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. It's a tide that begins with you and me. Oh, love can move the world as the warmth of the sun moves the tree. Feel the wind of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come love the world with me. Come love the world with me.